Hello, hello, everyone. How's everyone doing today? It's Erica Renee, and I'm here with another live video, and it's entitled, let's go to the title of it. It's TBI Q A Session time. As a survivor, I can't get upset if people don't know about TBIs, if I'm not talking about it, or if I'm not trying to help people be more aware about it. So I have to do my part and to enlighten people who are survivors and who aren't survivors of what a TBI is, and just simple questions. And the Q&A is questions that I've been asked myself, and also questions others have asked, and things I know that are common that people are curious about. So hi Alicia. And so yeah, so I just want to enlighten people about that. So like I said, as a survivor, it's just my duty to enlighten people about my condition, as well as other survivors as well. And if you're a survivor, go ahead and hit the like button or heart button or whatever. And if you're watching from my page, you can do the same as well. So to I have if anyone has a question, please type it in the comment section below. I can see the comments from my screen, so I'll be able to see the question and I'll answer it. I'll answer it when I see it. So go ahead and don't be shy. Go ahead and ask a question if you're curious about something. So to get started, the first question that first we got to start with the preliminary question. What is a TBI? People, I don't know if people think when they think of that, see the acronym, but a TBI is a traumatic brain injury and occurs from a jolt or blow to the head or penetrating head injury that disrupts the function of the brain. However, not all blows or jolts to the brain result in a TBI. There's concussions, and there's mild concussion, there's acquired brain injuries. So it varies on what the severity of it is. And there are common causes for a TBI. I have about maybe five here listed. A common cause could be falls, motor vehicle accidents or traffic crashes, sports injuries, assaults from like domestic violence, what I was affected by gun violence or gunshot, shaken baby syndrome, but are blast injuries. And it's just the leading cause of TBIs also for soldiers who may be in the army or different war zones or war types or whatever, war training environments. So it also affects people who have been in the military, the army, more so the army more than the Air Force, I would think. So but yeah, it's pretty common. And the thing of it all is anyone can have a brain injury. So it's like it's not tailored to any certain person. You don't have to be a special person or a certain type of person to acquire a brain injury. So or obtain a brain injury. So that settles that. The third question that I've seen or have been asked is what happens to a survivor when they're released from the hospital and go home. And I believe this varies for different people. Um, for myself, I know when I left the hospital, I went to a rehabilitation center, and after that, I went to a nursing home where I stayed like around maybe a little over a year, and then I went home. And so, but there are many steps that family members typically take during the recovery process, and it just depends on the families or the programs that the hospital has tells them about, or different things they have going on. And there's outpatient services as well. I know a few survivors that go to outpatient services even now. So there's another option as well. Extensive care from like hospitals or like rehab centers or whatever. So it just depends on the person and what the doctor and all the people involved in their condition what they all agree upon, and the arrange what the living arrangement should be. So that varies as well. It's going to vary depending on the person and the severity of their injury. The fourth question that is often asked is, how do I accept myself after being injured? How do I accept myself after being injured? And that is a loaded question. And it's actually, that's a loaded question. It's actually something I had to deal with myself. It took me quite a while to accept myself. After being injured, I say maybe it took me about maybe 4 or 5 years to accept myself. But all survivors are different because we're all affected differently. And some are affected mentally wise, and I said in the previous videos, some are affected mentally, some affected physically, emotionally. So we're all affected in different ways. And so, because our bodies are different, our brains are different. So we're not clones. So it's not like, we're all affected the same type of way. And so, brain injuries are affected, and they affect you psychologically, cognitively, emotionally, and that includes like depression. That's where a lot of depression and anxiety stems from. Changes in sleep habits, and increase or decrease in sex drives, the heightened fears, changes in your temperament, and also some people levels of fatigue are affected as well. So like I said, it depends on the person and their bodies, and how they were affected in their brains. And individuals can experience different other problems as well, and in judgment, they may do things that they're not likely to do before the injury that they'll do now. They can include like dealing with like drugs, alcohol use, or whatever. That can either be heightened or lowered. So that varies too. And it also can be like behavior changes and medical problems, like headaches and things like that, which I suffer with it sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes. And physical functions like standing, walking, eye hand coordination, fatigue, and cognitive changes to thinking, memory, and language. So the brain, it affects a lot of things. And then also some survivors can go from being like extroverts to introverts, and vice versa. Because I think for me, I think I was like maybe, I don't know, I think I was like an extrovert, but I'm kind of, I have introvert ways sometimes, a little bit introvert ways, but I think I'm like a mixture of both. But I know it can cause some survivors to go to being introverts, and it was interested in doing certain things that they once enjoyed doing. So it affects everyone. Not making a long story short, it affects everyone differently because we're all different. So it affects everyone differently, and it's just one of those things that it's not something that you can diagnose for everybody. So it has to be individually tailored. So another one that so it's hard, it's hard to accept yourself. It can be hard to accept yourself because it's you don't know, you never been through this, so it's kind of like you don't know what it's like to even be this person. And so you gotta take one day at a time. It's one day at a time, just one day at a time, minute by minute if you have to, hour by hour. It's hard to plan how you're going to feel because you don't even know how you're going to feel. So, but and you know what? Another thing that I believe is helpful, and I know this has helped me, is reminding myself who God says I am. Remind yourself who God says you are. And hey, Matt, hey, Katie. So remind yourself who God said you are. God thinks so highly of us, and it's sad that a lot of survivors, including myself as well, that we don't think highly enough of ourselves. Not to where it's like, you're arrogant, or, you're arrogant and like that, but like to once where you feel like you just like are doubting yourself, like you just think you're not worthy of anything. And so, but you are worthy, you are loved. So you don't have to let anybody make you feel inferior or like you're not good enough, because you are good enough, because God said you're good enough. So You have to get that out your mind and redirect your mindset to believe differently. And be kind to yourself. Be kind to yourself. Be gentle to yourself. Give yourself grace, room to make errors. It's all a big adjustment. I'm still adjusting, even now, and it's been 12 years, so I'm still adjusting. And I don't know how long it will be adjusted. I don't know. I don't know, but I just have to take it one day at a time, and that's what I'm gonna do. So I don't put pressure on myself to be so much or so little. I take it my moment day by day and just live how I'm going to live. And but learn how to just when you don't accept yourself, it prolongs the process of you being able to actually accept yourself. So it kind of has like a ricochet effect. And so for example, things that may have taken you 10 minutes to do may take you like 20 minutes to do or 30 minutes. So it's okay. Like there's no what is the rush? Like there's no rush to no rush to do anything fast. Like it's okay to take your time. And you should take your time. So especially depending on what it is. Hey Dexter, shout out to Dexter in North Carolina. Um, build yourself up. Speak good things of yourself. Like tell yourself, I'm beautiful, I'm handsome, or I'm loved, or I'm enough, I'm worthy, I'm God's child, like I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. Like tell yourself, listen, I'm courageous, I'm bold, I'm fearless. Like, dude, say all that, and it builds you up, and you'll feel, in your body, rejuvenating your body, like powerful things of yourself. And smile, like smile. It makes you feel so much better. I promise it does. So all that stuff helps. And the fifth question that I hear often. Will I ever get back to the old me? Will I ever get back to the old me? Um, First of all, no one wants to be injured. First of all, that's one thing. But I do believe it's important to first ask yourself, why do I want to go back to being the old me? What was in your old life that made you feel like I need to go back to it? Like, if you ask yourself, evaluate it, what was so significant that makes you want to go back to your old self? You don't have to say it. You can just write it down to yourself. If you're feeling this way, write it down to yourself or whatever. Hey, Berkeley veteran. So yeah, so write it down. Why do I want to go back to my old self? Like, why? Because obviously God wants you to be your old self, but He wants you to. He wants us to evolve. He wants us to be the same and stagnant. So ask yourself, like, why don't I be my own self? Why can't I be? Why do I not think I'm not great how I am? Why am I not good enough how I am? You gotta ask yourself that. Evaluate that. Why am I not good enough how I am? Why can't I accept myself how I am? What's wrong with how I am? I mean, ask yourself, like, what's wrong with me? Like, there's nothing wrong with you. You're 2.0. I'm Erica 2.0. Matt 2.0, Katie 2.0, Dexter 2.0, Alicia 2.0. You're 2.0. Like you just a better version of yourself. So you gotta look at it that way. Like I'm a better me. Like evaluate and develop that. Enhance it. Also, but it's normal to want to be back to how you once were. Let's say you were used to. Let's say you known for however long however old you are, especially whatever. So, but the new you, it's a better version of yourself, and it's good on this side. I promise it's good on this side. I promise it is. It really is. And I can recall I want to be the old me too, but I look at my pictures, old pictures. I don't even know that girl anymore. I don't even know her. Like I know that's me, but I don't feel like that's me. If that makes sense. But yeah. So number 6 is, why am I always angry? And this is part of the TBI. And anger is a big part of TBIs. And actually, your brain's filters are damaged. And like this, the frontal lobe is where a lot of anger is. Your anger and stuff. Where it's right here, anger and aggression, where it's right here in front of your head. And the correlation between the location of the brain and that the appearance of anger and aggression is like right here. And so if you are affected, like, or hit your head or something like right here, or had any kind of injury right here or whatever, then 9 times out of 10, you may have some anger problems, and that may be the cause of it. and it causes you to be impulsive sometimes, and control issues. So, but that's not to say it can't be fixed, but you just gotta, if you once you know what the problem is, you can work on resolving it. So, and then like with my TBI, the bullet went like it went in the top of my head, so it's like shattered everywhere, like went all over the place. So all across my brain were like really affected, and like it went to like my the temporal, my frontal, the parietal, occipital, the cerebellum, spinal cord, even. So basically everywhere was affected, not just one. Number seven, what are neuromotor problems? What are neuromotor problems? And this is new for me. I didn't know what this was. I never heard of this before. So I taught myself something today. So the neuromotor problems are physical movement and body control difficulties that result from injury to the motor control areas of the brain. I'll say it again. Neuromotor problems are physical movement and body control difficulties that result from injury to the motor control areas of the brain. And so this, like people may experience difficulty initiating or starting a movement, maintaining a muscle control, sustaining a movement, executing a complex movement such as walking. So all this, the neuromotor problems affect a lot of things physically, more so anything. And number eight, how likely is it for a person to return to a life of independence after a brain injury? Again, it depends on the person. No one is the same. Recovery like mine can continue for years. Like I improve a lot. I improve daily. Like I see change in my body all the time. So it's an ongoing thing. So there's not a designated timeline. I believe I don't think it's a designated timeline. So I have to say it depends on the person. And number nine, can the survivor return to work or school after their injury? Again, I say yes, as long as there are procedures in place and things in order. For example, someone like myself, using adaptive equipment to perform a job is necessary, depending on what it is. So I remember when I was interning at STLTV, I could do everything except push this button at the desk. And so people have to come press the button or whatever to let people in. And so we had to adjust and decide to use a ruler, like a long ruler for me to use so it can reach like to the part where I need to get it to, so whatever. So it made it adaptable. So, but I was able to be independent and to let people in the door when they came in or whatever on my own. So I wouldn't need people help. So wheelchair users adjustments may have to be made to accommodate you. For those who have issues cognitively, coping strategies and work supports are necessary. Coping strategies and work supports are necessary if the work is overwhelming. Even if people don't understand, like your coworkers or whatever, they might understand that your mind is different. So, and your personality may have changed. So, and it may you may be blamed for the problems or whatever, and it's not that it's a different cause. So changes to individuals are different. So, and it's possible to be blamed for the wrong thing. So cognitively, it can have a big effect on you as well. So to be effective, and I highly recommend if this is a person who's looking to go to work, to get work support, to have the extra backup to vouch for you, so to speak. So to extend your work setting, and that includes like vocational assessments, work reentry programs, job coaching if it's needed, job reengineering. In some cases, people may need to return to you can return to a modified job. If you had a former job and it won't affect your work injury in any kind of way, then fine. If they'll take you back, then by all means return to their job. But you may have to change jobs altogether if it was something like dealing with like something that can cause you to re-injure yourself. So I would not advise return to a job like that. But teach his own, and I for safety precautions, I wouldn't advise it. But if you feel you can handle it, then you can do it. Then by all means. But I will consult with your doctor first and other professionals, and take it from there. And to return to school, it's the same thing. Like I said, for myself, I'm a wheelchair user, so I needed certain equipment in the classrooms, like in the desks are like, you know, the desk you sit in. So I obviously couldn't sit in it. So I had to have like a special desk, and when I had to give my class schedules to the people in the disability office or whatever, and so they had to make sure that classrooms had the accessible desk that I needed, you know, whatever. And then I will get extra time on my test. And then, of course, you need to ramp to get there because I can't, I'm out in the dog right now. So, you know, I need the extra ramp or whatever. And then accessible buttons. So they have to be needed, there need to be placed like certain location or whatever. And elevators. Elevators are necessary as well, especially if my classes are like on the third floor sometimes. So I need an elevator to get there. And those were instances where I couldn't get to class because of the elevator. So I can't go to class that day. And so I emailed my instructor and said, well, I can't go to class. So the elevator's down. So he was like, okay, well, we arrange stuff, whatever. But adjustments have to be made. People more likely, they're prone to help or whatever. They don't mind. So, but again, go to the disability office and get a form that says your capabilities or whatever, your disabilities or whatever, in so that the teacher will believe you. Because if you walk around or whatever, they might not believe you that you had a brain injury because you look quote unquote normal, and so you may need the extra paperwork to show that that you have brain injury or whatever, and you need accommodations. So I advise that as well. But I would say my college experience has helped me to learn how to adapt to situations in a new way. I know how to maneuver if things are not 100%, you know, the way I planned them to be or whatever. So it taught me a lot of stuff. And then number 10, can you drive at the TBI? I would love to say yes, but it depends on how your brain was affected and how your brain was injured. So it's a law that doctors are required to inform the superintendent of motor vehicles that a person that has a health condition which impairs the ability to drive if it's serious enough. So getting that, I don't know if it's a paper, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's a paper or not, I'm not sure. So sometimes even surviving want to drive and getting their independence back, it may not be the safest. So especially if they have underlying issues that can affect them in the long run. So, but nonetheless, individuals that have sustained a CBI should not drive unless the doctor says it's safe to do so. However, it does not mean that a person will never drive again. So yes, you can still drive if it's okay and approved by a medical professional, and it's approved by the motor vehicle people. So yeah. And the last question is, do you ever get over a TBI and will it ever go away? Do you ever get over a TBI and will it ever go away? To say you get over it, I'm not sure it's something you can get over. And will ever go away. It's not glamorous or fun, nor is it like a common cold that takes medicine to be cured in a week or two. You know, it's new to everybody. It's new lifestyle. It's a change for both the survivors, the caregivers, the family members, the friends, whoever's in your life, is your husband or spouses or whatever. It's an adjustment for everybody. Everyone's affected. So, but it can be dealt with. Again, you got to readjust. It's just an adjustment. And so the more time you focus on like what if I could have this, what I should have that, could have, should have, would have. The more time you focus on that stuff, it's taken away from you and what you could be better mentally, physically, emotionally. It's taken away from all that. So, you know, focus on the things you can do and the good side, the good stuff. You know, because it's not that bad. It's really not that bad. You can live with it. You can live with it. You can live with it. You can adjust with it. And there will be some struggles, but you can make it. You can make it, and you will make it. And I will say this: extend grace. I say that to survivors, and I say that to other people as well. Extend grace. It's not okay to say, "Oh, get over it," or "You're exaggerating." You know, it's very difficult to deal with, especially if you weren't like born with, because if you weren't born with injury, it's like it's difficult to, if you were just like in an accident like I was, your life is a whole new world. Like it's a whole new world. So it's not something you quote unquote get over it. So it's like you learn how to flow with it, you know, flow with it, roll with it. So it's not nice to say get over it or exaggerate because you don't know what a person is going through or what they've been through. So it's not fair to say, oh, get over it, oh, get past it. No, it's not that simple. It's not like you just get past like that. But, with prayer and God, you could definitely, things it doesn't get easier. I do believe that because I'm witness to myself, So, but yeah, but grace is definitely needed on both ends from the family members and the caregivers and anyone else associated with branches or whatever. Grace is definitely needed. Patience is definitely needed. I don't know what that was my door. But yes, so I hope you learn more about TBIs. If you have any questions, don't be shy. Send me a message and I give an answer. Also, be sure to tune into tomorrow's episode of Where to Life Uncovered. I'll be interviewing a longtime friend of mine. I've known him for since I was 11 years old. It's quite a long time. And thank you to my author page. I'm almost at 400. Last I checked, that was at 398. So I need to super people to get to 400. But my goal is 500 by Christmas, or not by Christmas, by December. So keep on liking, keep on. My page is Erica Walker. So I have in the description below in the video. And also I made a new group. So consider joining my group. There's beauty inside if you're a survivor or caregiver. It's a support group, a TBI awareness support group, and for survivors in general. And it's my mission to help survivors while transform their mindsets from their traumatic experiences to purpose. So focus on purpose and personal growth, and to assist them, in any way I can. So I encourage them and promote positivity. So I'm all about positive. I'm all about positive. Like nothing. I don't like negativity. I really don't. I do not like it. So I don't promote that in my group. I have grace. I have positivity always. So if you want to join, please send an invite to join. And I also offer coaching. If you want extended help or whatever, anything, I offer assistant coaching as well. I'll have a schedule link to book a discovery call with me if you want to talk about some other stuff. So, but until next time, that's all I have for today. It's been a long video. I didn't plan on this, but stuff happens. So until next time, guys, I'll let you go now. So until next time, remember to love God, love yourself, love others, and always remember to smile. It's good for you. Bye.